I'm Claudia Catania, and you're listening to Playing on Air. You are about to hear Cora and Dave Are Getting Older by Julia Cho, whose plays include The Piano Teacher, The Architecture of Loss, and 99 Histories. Cora and Dave Are Getting Older is directed by Marcia Jean Kurtz. As an actress, her film credits include Tower Heist, Inside Man, and Dog Day Afternoon. Her cast today includes Dawn McGees and Jack Sochet, who have both worked regionally and off-Broadway at EST, Soho Rep, and others, as well as in film and TV. We'll talk with director and cast right after they record. And now, Cora and Dave Are Getting Older. We are in a young married couple's bedroom at night. Cora is slathering herself with lotion and otherwise getting herself ready for bed. Dave is already in bed with his eyes closed.
Wasn't that nice to see them?
That was very nice.
They're so good at conversation, you know? They always have such interesting things to say.
Yes, they have opinions on just about everything.
And the food was delicious, wasn't it? Abby's sturgeon was just amazing. She always manages to order the best thing off the menu. I don't know how she does it. I don't even think I like sturgeon. But that sturgeon was special. And Tim looked well, didn't he? They both keep themselves in such excellent shape. You'd never think, here's a couple that's been married 10 years. You know, they've both stopped smoking.
Good for them.
Yes. They'll probably live forever now. Did you see that necklace she was wearing?
What?
The necklace he gave her for their anniversary. How could you miss it? It was blinding. God knows how many African miners died to haul that necklace out of the ground.
I'm sure the diamonds were from some kind of socially responsible source. You know how Abby is.
True. She is. They both are so aware. But you know, the traditional anniversary gift, the true anniversary gift, is tin or aluminum.
Tin or aluminum?
Yes. So it surprised me because normally Abby's so traditional. It would have been more proper than diamonds, don't you think? Diamonds are for later, aren't they? Plus, tin and aluminum come from renewable sources. And you know how much Abby believes in that. Yes, he definitely should have given her tin or aluminum.
Well, let me just reassure you right now. I will go the traditional route for our 10th anniversary when it comes.
Oh. Good. You know, one of the best things about seeing Abby and Tim is that they are always going on these wonderful trips, these extravagant journeys. Can you believe where he took her for their anniversary?
Where was that again?
Were you listening at all at dinner? To the Seychelles.
Oh. I thought they said Sonoma. Like the wine place. I thought that's where they said they went.
Dave! Seychelles sounds nothing like Sonoma. Are you deaf? The Seychelles is like this socially responsible eco-destination on the other side of the world. The island doesn't have a native population, so there's no native population to exploit. The workers all come from elsewhere. And it's not like other countries, you know, like Thailand, for example, where you've got natives creeping along the ground, cutting the grass with a pair of scissors for 4 cents a day.
Is that so?
Abby found it. She did all this research. Did you know it took them 26 hours to get there? With 2 layovers? Can you believe it? But it was worth it because their consciences were clear the whole time they were there. They could soak in the pool. Apparently, each hut has its own private infinity pool and lay on the sand without a single speck of guilt on their souls. Abby has a lot of integrity.
It can be a little annoying, don't you think?
How can you say that? She is, and I've told you this before, one of the people I admire most in this world. Ever since we were roommates in college, I have looked up to her as someone who was more worldly, more wise. She taught me a lot, Abby did, about what to wear, how to act, the appropriate social gestures at the appropriate times. Yes, I owe much of who I am to Abby. It's very rare, I think, to have a close friend who is also such a role model. Don't you think? Dave?
Yes.
And I've resigned myself, of course, to the fact that I will never attain the heights she will. Because the fact is, she is blessed with greater talents, greater gifts than me. She should be more successful, more wealthy. The fact is, she was destined to live an extraordinary life. You and me, Dave, we are just mere mortals. But Abby is of a different breed. From the moment I met her, I was smitten with her beauty, her nobility, her idealism. And I think the whole of our friendship, I have tried to ask myself during times of stress and trouble, what would Abby do? Because how many people live a life of such high ideals? She dropped everything to go to New Orleans and help the victims of Katrina. She gives a full 10% of her income to charities each year, every year. She doesn't eat meat. She doesn't even wear leather shoes. And yet she is always impeccably dressed and never complains that her feet hurt. She's an inspiration. How she moves through this banal, frustrating world with such grace, such momentum. Do you know, Dave, that she wears matching sets of underwear? I've seen it with my own eyes. Her bra always matches her panties. This is womanliness on an order that I have never even come close to achieving. And in Tim, she has found the perfect partner, the perfect helpmate. He is so handsome. I know that without Abby, I'd never know a man like Tim. So successful, so powerful, so suave. But Abby, of course, would wind up with someone like that. Those two deserve each other. They were made for each other. And how wonderful, how amazing to be able to say that we know them. That they would deign to know such normal, such banal, such everyday and common people as us. Dave, are you sleeping? Yes, we are blessed to know them. Blessed to know them. Does it ever seem... That is, does it ever occur to you that Abby and Tim are in some way like us, but better versions of us? And that in a way, they are such a vastly superior version of us that they render us perhaps redundant, irrelevant, invisible. Once, a long time ago, do you remember this? That time we went to Abby's for lunch. She wanted us to meet Tim. They just started dating. Traffic was unusually light that day, and we arrived maybe 20 minutes too early. And you remember how we were going up the walk? And there were these sounds. We couldn't tell what they were. Crazy sounds. Sounds of weeping and gnashing of teeth and braying and roaring. And then we realized that a window was open somewhere. And what we heard was the sounds of their lovemaking. We heard sounds the likes of which we had never heard before. They didn't even seem human. We both blushed, couldn't look each other in the eye. We were so embarrassed. And if I remember it correctly, we turned away and got back into the car and drove around the neighborhood for half an hour. And finally, we came back to the house, and when Abby opened the door, her eyes were so bright, her cheeks so pink. Tim's hair was damp and combed back, but we never said anything to her or to each other. We just sat there and had our poached salmon and talked about the weather. And then later, at home, we still didn't talk about it. We never talked about it. Why didn't we? Why didn't we ever just talk about it? It always felt like forever after that. Our own lovemaking was a little embarrassed. Like we were both so painfully aware that we, in some fundamental way, just didn't measure up. And that we never would.
I saw Tim kissing the hostess.
What?
I saw Tim kissing the hostess.
No, I know you said that. I didn't mean what, as in what did you say, but what as in... Oh my goodness, where?
I was going to the bathroom and there was this nook. You remember that nook? Where the public telephones and the coat racks were? That's where they were. Kissing.
When?
After the entree, but before the dessert. You remember how you went off to make that important phone call?
Really?
Then they went into some closet where he probably shagged her.
Well...
The thing about you is you don't know it, and you've never known it. We've been married almost 10 years, and you still don't know.
What?
That we're fine. We're fine. We've always been just fine. Finally.
Did he really shag her?
Sleeping.
Did he?
Definitely.
Was she attractive?
Yeah. If you like cheap. I can hear you smiling.
Good night, Dave. I love you.
Love you too.
You just heard Cora and Dave Are Getting Older, written by Julia Cho and directed by Marcia Jean Kurtz. It featured Dawn McGees as Cora, and Jack Sochet as Dave. Marcia Jean Kurtz. Julia's play is called Cora and Dave Are Getting Older. Marcia, you've been around for a while. Do you think those times of feeling like you're falling short, as Cora does, ever diminish?
No. No, it doesn't. You can get older. But sometimes I've said, I feel like I'm 22 still. The outside seems to grow older, but the inside wiser, but still is that young girl inside. I don't feel any different.
Including the insecurities.
Yes, they're there, but you can handle those things much better, if you've prepared yourself, gone to therapy a long time, know who you are, all of that.
But triggers are always there.
The triggers are always there, but you can work around them and not get overwhelmed by them.
Playwright Julia Cho makes fun of the privileged, super politically correct. Can you all talk a little bit about political correctness in terms of this play?
She satirizes it in some way. She makes fun of it. She opens up the subject, what is true, what is not true, what is exaggerated. Today's discussion in this political climate, certainly that's like one of the flashpoints of what's going on.
What I think is also really cool about this play is I'm not sure that Dave would say what happened unless she was not so distraught. Like, if she was not this upset, I think I would have kept the secret. Dave, the character, utilizes information because he has to and wants her to understand that this, idol she's put up on a pedestal is not real because it's starting to destroy her. And I hate to see that. And destroy us. Because we're a team. So I think it's a very interesting way she's written this play. I mean, it's a really phenomenally written play.
But also what I love about this play is just the kind of idea of what does success mean?
And also that, this is my own view in life in general, is resentment is what will destroy us.
Feeling the need to have to compare.
Yeah.
Compare and contrast.
Joneses.
Yeah.
Why did the inadvertent eavesdropping on Abby and Tim when Cora and Dave showed up too early so unsettle and gag them, do you think?
It made Cora feel like what she kind of talks about, being invisible, like being unimportant. Because I feel like if the roles were reversed and someone was coming to Cora's for a lunch, I mean, it would be all about the preparation of, still making sure like the napkins are in the napkin ring and things were all laid out. The whole idea that this is what one would be doing 20 minutes before friends are supposed to arrive just tailspinned her into I don't know that I really verbalized any of that.
No, you did. Jack, do you have any feelings? Because she talks about feeling so inconsequential, but also they don't talk to each other about it.
I think that for me, it'd be her jurisdiction to broach it with Abby, because Abby's her friend. So when she starts, and I'm awake during this, even though people think I'm asleep and I'm listening to her, is that she thinks it's this big thing, but it's like, we've passed that stage. So I think it's often, it's part of the comparison of they're making love all the time, and we kind of, it's more mediocre. I've dated a few women, this might be too much TMI, but who romanticize the beginning. Well, for me, I love more in. Like, the beginning is great, but I like the relationship, the trust, the, solidity, and also knowing I can rely on that person. So I think it's interesting because I think my experience with that story is, thank God we're not them as Dave. While she's like, I wish we were them. And I think that's kind of where that we go to, we're fine, in the end of the plays, because I'm really happy where we are. We're great the way we are. And we've always been great compared to them. So they're like the new car, but our car is like a Volvo, It's good, it lasts.
And sincere, unlike theirs.
Right, exactly.
Well, thank you all for coming and talking about Julia Cho's play, Cora and Dave Are Getting Older. Director Marcia Jean Kurtz and cast Dawn McGees, who played Cora, and Jack Sochet, who played Dave.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Playing on Air, great American short plays with great American actors. Theme and play music by Tom Cochan. Recording and sound design by John Kilgore. Associate producer, Sasha Spitzer. Literary and Development Associate, Lucy Fleming. Social media and outreach, Bonnie Antosh. Distributed by PRX, Public Radio Exchange. We invite you to visit our website at playingonair.org, where you can stream short plays and find information about our artists and plays. Join us on Facebook or Twitter, and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. While you're there, leave us a review. We value your opinion. For Playing on Air, I'm your host, Claudia Catania. Thanks for listening.